Hello and welcome to Fortress, Alaska. This is my first episode, so cut me some slack. Anyways, I thought I'd start with something we're going to call Back to Basics, and we're going to cover the firearms safety rules today. There are a lot of new shooters, a lot of new firearms owners, and a lot of people are interested in firearms, so let's just talk about firearm safety. There are 4 basic rules, and there are exceptions to these rules. The first rule is to always treat a firearm as if it is loaded. Now, there are times when you need to do cleaning, maintenance, or inspections of firearms, and obviously you would not clean, maintain, or inspect a loaded firearm. You would want to be sure it's unloaded. So what you do is you want to ensure the gun is unloaded before you do anything else to it. I'm treating it as loaded. I remove the magazine. The magazine is empty. Now I know no cartridge will go into the chamber when I cycle the action. I cycle the action, nothing comes out. Lock the action back. I look inside. There's nothing in there. There's just a hole. I look for a hole. I don't look for brass or a cartridge. I look for a hole. If I look for brass, I'll be happy there's brass there, and then I'll have a loaded gun. I look for a hole. When there's a hole, I know this is not loaded. So now, I know the gun is unloaded. I know it is safe. I can now clean and inspect it and do things to it that I would not do with a loaded firearm. Now, most people only show you things like this with the semi-auto. But there are other types of firearms. We have the single action. This is a 22, so it's kind of small. It's a Ruger Bearcat. But anyways, so what you do is you just open the loading gate, go to half cock, and rotate the cylinder, looking at each time to make sure that all those cylinders are empty. You're just looking for 6 holes. On mine 6, some as many as 10. So now I know the gun is unloaded and safe. Now I can clean it, inspect it, do maintenance, repairs, whatever I need to do. Next is the double action, single action revolver. I open the cylinder. I can look very easily and see that all the chambers are empty. So now I know the gun is safe. Now this one I can just leave open like this and do cleaning, inspection, and maintenance as I wish, because there's no way it can function. So now we know what to do with that. Now, most rifles are pretty basic, but one of the hardest to clean and inspect is the lever action, because it's just by their manner of construction. But anyway, same thing. I can look in the gate. I can look in the loading gate if you have a loading gate. If you don't have a loading gate, you usually have a tube that removes. So I can look in the loading gate and see there's no ammo in there. Then I can open the lever, open the chamber. I can look and see that there's nothing in there. I actually do this a couple times to make sure there was nothing inside the magazine tube and nothing comes out, and that it is indeed unloaded. And now I can clean, inspect, do maintenance, whatever I want to do. Obviously, once again, I would not do that on a loaded firearm, so I would only clean and inspect the gun that I ensure is unloaded, and then I can treat it like it's not loaded. But if I get up to answer the phone, talk to someone else in the house, answer the door, whatever it may be, when I come back, I do the procedure again to make sure the gun is unloaded, because it was out of my control and I don't know what has happened to it while I was away. So even if I step out just to get a drink of water and come back, I will clear the gun again and make sure it is safe. The second rule is never let your muzzle cover anything that you're not willing to destroy. Pretty basic. You don't point the gun at something you don't want to shoot. Exception is when you're doing inspections, cleaning, and maintenance, because the gun could often be in parts, but you've ensured it's unloaded, and now you are doing cleaning and maintenance, so the gun can be pointed in directions that you would never do with a loaded firearm. But it's still best to treat it as loaded as much as possible, but once it's in parts, you're safe. Now the third rule is to keep your trigger finger off the trigger until you are ready to pull that trigger and your sights are on the target. Which means, for like a hunter, you don't have your finger on that trigger when you're watching the deer stroll around until you're ready to shoot. Now your finger stays off that trigger until you're ready to take that shot. Same thing when you're target shooting. You don't have your trigger finger on the trigger even though you're on a range and you've got the gun pointed down range. No, your finger stays off the trigger until it's time to actually shoot, and then you do it. And when the classic way to do it is you just put your finger up next to the side of the gun. It's in a safe location. Everybody can see it's not on the trigger, and the gun will not fire while your finger's up there. So just keep your finger off the trigger until it's time to pull it. Now, The last rule, or I should say the fourth rule really, is to be sure of your target and what is beyond it. For hunting, this is critical. You want to know that it is indeed a deer, a moose, a bear, a rabbit, whatever you are hunting. You want to be sure that's what you're seeing before you pull the trigger. Many people and domestic animals have been shot by hunters who are not sure of their target. They see something moving through the bushes and they shoot a cow. Yes, it happens. So, know your target and also know what's behind it, especially while you're hunting. Is there a farmhouse behind that stand of trees that you're sitting in shooting at a deer? Is there something else that might be beyond there? A road? There are a lot of dirt roads and other trails that you may not know about. Be sure where you are at and where you're pointing your gun when you pull that trigger. Same thing if you're just target shooting. On a range, you are almost positive because there are usually a nice berm of dirt beyond your target, and you know what is beyond your target because there's a big berm of dirt. But if you're just out in the wilderness and you decide to do some target practicing, once again, know what's beyond. It's always best to have a wall of dirt behind you or a stand of trees. But if you have a stand of trees, you got to know what's beyond that stand of trees because a lucky bullet might get through it. So, know what's beyond your target. Okay, it's that simple. Know what's beyond it. Now, there is still an exception to this rule. If your life is on the line and you're being attacked, if you're, in a scuffle and your life is about to be ended by somebody, you don't have to sit there and figure out, well, if I shoot, what's beyond this guy who's trying to kill me? No, you just shoot and then hope for the best. You are responsible for every bullet you fire, but if your choice is to waste 2 seconds to see if something's back there or be dead in a second, you make your choice. You save your life first, and then you worry about the other things. But pretty much that is a case that almost nobody will ever run into, where their life is in such immediate danger that they can't take a moment and look. But if that should happen to you, then just don't worry about what's beyond your target. You are responsible for your bullets, but know that if your life is in danger, you have to act quickly, and you can't be sit there scanning everything that's happening beyond your target, because when someone's trying to kill you, you're probably only going to see them anyways. So reality is you're not going to know what's beyond your target. So, but that is such a rare exception, and that is like the only exception. So keep that in mind. Now there is the bonus rule, and the bonus rule is to always keep your firearms secured from unauthorized users. In my house, I am fortunate that anywhere in my house that I consider secure as long as I'm home, because the people who live in my house with me are of an age and training to where they can safely be around loaded firearms, and I have no concerns over it. There was a time when everything always had to be locked up in a safe unless it was on my body. Now I'm not in that situation. However, if I am going to have guests at my house, or if other people are going to have guests at my house, I lock everything up except for what is on my body. It's not that I don't trust family, friends, or other people's friends. It's just that I am going to play things on the safe side. If it is not personally in my body, it will be locked up when there are going to be other people in my house who do not live here. So, just think about that. What is security for you? And keep unauthorized users away from your firearms. And that keeps a lot of things from happening that should not happen. So anyways, I hope you've learned something. If you have, please like, subscribe. That will help me. If you have any comments to help, be positive. Try to help me out here. I'm just starting. And it's sub-zero here in Alaska today. That's why I'm not outside doing anything. But in the future, we'll be out on the range and we will do other things. I might even do some sub-zero filming just to show you life in Alaska in the dead of winter. Anyways, hope you have a good day, and thank you for watching.